In this world, there's one man who refuses to follow the script.
We have rules here, you know that. And if you don't follow the rules, then what are we?
One man stands tall in the face of adversity.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
A man who rises above the ashes of hot takes.
What do you care what they say?
Easy for you to say they all love you.
It's just noise, man. You're really good at it. You might be great.
That man is Nick Kostos. And this is You Better You Bet.
If loving sports is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Where narratives are challenged and the truth is spoken.
I told you what was going to happen last week. If you didn't listen, that's on you.
This isn't talk, it's perspective.
It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see.
This is You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry, magnificent Sports Monday to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos on Westwood One Sports, as we bring you the fastest show in all of sports. The show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. And on this Monday morning, the world of sports absolutely, positively buzzing. And we are going to get to all the big stories, including what all of you need to expect and need to be looking for as we careen towards 6 p.m. Eastern later this evening, the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Yeah, we're going to go through all the moves that happened this weekend. Of course, headlined by one you might have heard about involving Tark Skubal and the LA Dodgers. But everything that you need to expect in between now and 6 o'clock Eastern, we will get to over the course of the show. We'll also talk some football, and I will just tell you, our audience, why the AFC South is being slept on by everybody. Not by me. I just had my coffee. I'm wide ass awake. But you are sleeping on the AFC South, and you should not be. And I will also reveal the big name NFL team. I'm talking big name, big market NFL team that has a potential crippling weakness that no one's talking about right now. And we should be, because I think when we get to week 1, Sunday, September 13th, we'll be talking about it. Who's the team? What's the weakness? That's coming up a little later in the show. Our bets for tonight will close the program as per usual, and I am in the swing, pun intended, of betting on baseball with the trade deadline about to come and go. Oh, we're starting to get full shapes and forms of these rosters coming down the stretch. Who's looking to contend? Who's looking to sell? Who's buying? Who's trying to win a championship? We've got information, and I am looking to take that info into the betting market, and I will do so tonight. So in the final hour, power hour, all the bets for Monday night in the world of sports. The phone number, 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910, and we are on YouTube, youtube.com/@The Kostos, TheKostos. You can find me on all social platforms at The Kostos, TheKostos. And before we officially begin the show with the biggest news from the sports weekend, just allow me to say this. We're going to talk Skubal. We'll get to the Dodgers in 1 second. But this needs to be said right now to kick off this week, Monday morning here, You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. This week, we get football. A National League. Now, it's a crappy game. It's the worst of all the games. Out of every game the NFL will play this season, regular season, postseason, preseason, this is going to be the worst one. But we get it. It's like they say, even bad pizza's good. Even bad sex isn't terrible. Bad football is still football, especially when you haven't had football in quite some time. Thursday night, Hall of Fame game. Panthers and Cardinals. Are you ready for some football? We are here on You Better You Bet. And we'll get to football as the show moves along, but we have to officially begin the magnificent Sports Monday edition of You Better You Bet, with the rich getting richer. It's like finding out. I found out, I don't know, a couple months ago, Ryan Reynolds, you know, the A-list Hollywood actor, made like $600 million selling a gin company that he founded. Like, what the hell are we all doing wrong as people? Just like, founding a company, here's $600 million. Like finding out Ryan Reynolds got $600 million for some gin company. Or remember a number of years ago, 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, my brother from Queens, made a fortune on vitamin water. The rich get richer. How about finding out this weekend? Good for him. Friend of the show, ESPN's Adam Schefter, early investor in Underdog, which just sold for over $1 billion. The rich get richer. And so, too, do the Los Angeles Dodgers. No surprise, right? We all knew this was going to happen, that the other teams were not going to step up to the plate, pun intended. The Milwaukee Brewers said, nah, we'll pass on Tarek Skubal. The Tampa Bay Rays said, no thanks, we'll trade for Freddie Peralta. And of course, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers that step up, bat on the shoulder, and swing that son of a bitch and knock that ball 500 feet out of the stadium. Unbelievable job by the Dodgers late Saturday night, acquiring maybe the best pitcher on the planet, the reigning, defending, two-time AL Cy Young Award winner, Tarek Skubal, for 3 prospects. We'll get into the haul, or lack thereof, that the Tigers got for Skubal in a little bit, but that's not the massive takeaway here. And there are, the story's like an onion, and it may make you cry in certain ways, just like an onion does, right? There are many different layers to this story and takeaways from this massive transaction, the Dodgers acquiring maybe the best pitcher in Major League Baseball as they seek a potential three-peat. As always on this show, we start with how it impacts what's going to happen on the field, because that's what I care about. And ultimately, that's what you care about, because we are gigantic sports fans. We love history. We love champions. We love the postseason. We can't wait to see how it plays out. And we have a big-time impact as a result of this trade and massive ramifications as a result of this trade. Now, nothing is 100% in life or in sports. Skubal could get hurt. I hope he doesn't. Just saying, it could happen, right? Anybody could get hurt. All sorts of crazy things could happen. And something, or some team, or some player could upend the Dodgers en route to a potential World Series championship. But as it stands right now, and this is not, going out on a limb necessarily with this take, this isn't like predicting Leicester City to win the Premier League back in 2015. The Dodgers are going to three-peat. Like, the season's over. And I'm not talking 2027 with a potential lockout. I'm talking this season. That it's likely over as a result of this move. And I'm sure the LA Dodgers found themselves, and we all play fantasy sports, right? Where you have this trade gets proposed to you. And you're looking at it, and it's like, okay, like, I'm going to click accept. Is this actually happening? Am I actually about to get this player for this package that I'm giving up? Where, when it comes down to the LA Dodgers, it's Zaire Hope and River Ryan. What a name. River Ryan and like Brad Smith, not the former Missouri and New York Jet player, for Tarek Skubal. Like, those 3 guys in exchange for a World Series championship is basically what it comes down to. It's the easiest trade that's ever been consummated. The easiest deal of all time. The easiest yes ever for the LA Dodgers for this deal. And the Dodgers, we don't need to mince words here. The Dodgers are going to they will join the 1936-39 New York Yankees, the 49-53 New York Yankees, the 72-74 Oakland Athletics, and the 98-2000 New York Yankees as the only teams in the history of Major League Baseball to win 3 or more consecutive World Series. And when it's all said and done, and think about this, and I loved Freddie Freeman basically alluding to it this weekend when discussing the Skubal trade with the media. Freddie Freeman is well aware of the history, the illustrious, storied, glorious history of the Los Angeles Dodgers, the former Brooklyn Dodgers. And Freddie Freeman knows that with a successful October this year, this iteration of the Los Angeles Dodgers becomes the best ever iteration of the Dodgers franchise in its long, storied, glorious, illustrious history. Isn't that incredible to think about? That we are on the cusp here, a couple months away from gigantic history being made in Major League Baseball. They're the favorite. They should be the favorite. And I don't know who's beating them, and I don't know how they're losing. When Tarik Skubal takes the mound and gets handed the ball come October, the Los Angeles Dodgers will have on their roster one of the best postseason performers in recent memory. And yes, a couple years ago, Skubal unraveled in Game 5 against the Guardians. It pitched great up until that inning that ultimately doomed the Tigers in that series against Cleveland. But look what Skubal did last year in the postseason. Just absolutely ridiculous stuff. 20 and 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 4 walks. That's 14 base runners in 20 and 2/3 innings last year in the postseason for Tarik Skubal, to go along with 36 strikeouts. 36 strikeouts. If he's not the best pitcher on the planet, and maybe Jacob Misiorowski and others would like to make that case to be the best pitcher on the planet, the best pitcher alive, Skubal's in the conversation. And again, not only is he a monster in the regular season, but he is a proven October performer. So this is not a guy the Dodgers are trading for where we're all thinking, this isn't like Clayton Kershaw is one of the all-time greats. Don't confuse what I'm saying. But Clayton Kershaw had a reputation for folding in October, right? Fair to say? Tarik Skubal, outside of one bad inning against the Guardians in Game 5 a couple of years ago, has been nails in the postseason. He's been unbelievable in the postseason. And Tarik Skubal will now serve for the Dodgers as a force multiplier when you look at the rest of what they've got going on. Because I think if we're going to take 365 days into account, a full calendar year, you could argue Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher on the Los Angeles Dodgers. But when the calendar flips to October, is it possible, is it likely that Tarik Skubal is the second best pitcher on the Los Angeles Dodgers? Because the best pitcher come October on the Los Angeles Dodgers, and until further notice, the best pitcher in October, period, is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. You remember World Series MVP Yoshinobu Yamamoto? You remember starting Game 6 in Toronto and then coming back and pitching Game 7 in relief and closing it out, the World Series for the Dodgers? That Yoshinobu Yamamoto? Oh, and what about the third start? Well, perhaps there's going to be some weakness coming up here for the LA Dodgers in the rotation. Oh, no. We think it'll be Shohei Ohtani. Maybe Ohtani's the third starter for the Dodgers come playoff time. Are you serious? What? Okay. And you know what? Maybe, let's say Ohtani can't pitch for whatever the reason. Here's Blake Snell. Here's Tyler Glasnow, who unbelievably, he was great in Oppenheimer, and now Tyler Glasnow is going to pitch this October in the World Series for the Dodgers. What a life for this guy. Unbelievable. The Cillian Murphy lookalike. Do you understand what's going on here? How insane this is? How this is the ultimate situation in sports of the rich getting richer? Who's beating them? And we'll talk about the Brewers, who blew their chance for Skubal, the Rays, who blew their chance for Skubal. The Los Angeles Dodgers said, you know what? We're not going to mess around here. We want to be legendary. We want a three-peat. We want to make it happen. And if this is the price we have to pay to make it happen, it's the easiest price that's ever been paid in the history of life. It's easy. And I'll tell you what, to everyone out there, and there are a lot of people, and I can understand, right? Because you get caught up in your emotions. I get caught up in my emotions as a Yankee fan. It's annoying, right? Like they're probably just going to win the World Series again. For everybody that wants to get mad at the LA Dodgers, wants to be pissed at the Dodgers, and wants to say that the Los Angeles Dodgers are ruining baseball, you're not angry. That's not your emotion. No. It's being masked with anger. Because it's easy, and this is like a great psychological thing, right? Behind anger, just in general, with me, first and foremost, I'm not immune to this. Anger generally masks deeper emotions that are harder to sift through and are harder to express. Your emotion is not anger. Let's be clear about that. And my emotion is not anger. And I will fully get into what my emotion is coming up in a little bit. Your emotion and my emotion is jealousy. I am so especially as a Yankee fan. You can hate I don't care. You can hate them. It's fine. Especially as a Yankee fan. I am so jealous of what the Los Angeles Dodgers are doing. The Los Angeles Dodgers, again, whether you like them or not, whether you root for them or not, you have to acknowledge, like we acknowledge with our ones in the air, the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I want to see ones in the air, unless you're driving, don't do this. Keep your hands on the wheel. Ones in the air for the Los Angeles Dodgers. The premier organization, not just in Major League Baseball, but in all of professional sports. An organization that values winning ruthlessly. If capitalism, the idea of capitalism, could be distilled down into a sports organization, into a pro sports team, it would be the LA Dodgers. Winning at all costs. Make money at all costs. And those two things are not always related. You've got like the New York Yankees, for instance. I hate to keep bringing up the Yankees, but I'm a Yankees fan. The Yankees want to make money. That's what's important to the Yankees. Not necessarily winning. They'd like to win, but making money is what's important. The Los Angeles Dodgers, though, have cracked the code. Because the Los Angeles Dodgers understand that winning begets money. You get more money from winning. So the Dodgers do whatever is necessary to win. Defer a contract 10 years down the line for Shohei Ohtani? Okay. Yeah. We'll deal with it a decade from now if we're going to make history and have a dynasty. Of course you trade that. Absolutely you do that. It's not even a question. Their farm system's unbelievable. And I'm not trying to BS you and tell you I'm Keith Law or I'm one of I'm grinding Baseball America or the Baseball Prospectus. I can't tell you about the Dodgers, double-A star outfielder. I have no idea. But from everything you read, everything you listen to, it's loaded. And the major league rosters, look, so just like they have money, the major leaguers they have are awesome, and they have an amazing farm system. This is everything you want. They shouldn't be criticized. They should be deified. They should be revered. You should be demanding your favorite team does what the Los Angeles Dodgers do. That's what this is. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. That's fine. But just admit, like I am, that it's jealousy. That you're jealous. Oh, I can't believe the Dodgers did this. Like, this is not exactly the greatest haul ever traded for a player. And we can get into why that's the case. But you telling me that the Brewers with their farm system couldn't have had a similar offer? That it couldn't have happened? The Dodgers were the team that said, F it. We're going for it. We want to leave no doubt. The Dodgers are the team that puts their foot down on the accelerator and pushes that son of a bitch to the ground. They want to win. They need to win. Isn't that the point of all of this? Now, look, as the dad of a 2-year-old, I'm going to have to grapple with this sort of stuff at some point in the near future, right? Where is winning actually everything in life? Is it? I can't speak to that being the case, although I think winning is kind of important. But when it comes to professional sports, the goal is to win a championship. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that why, like, the GM of the owners, the players, get out of bed in the morning? With the express goal of coming together as a team and a coaching staff and a front office to win a championship. Isn't that the point? You could hand out participation trophies in Little League and CYO, whatever. Travel, I don't care. Great. This is the pros. Is the big leagues. The point is to try and win. You tell me, you show me a team that's trying to win more than the Los Angeles Dodgers. Isn't that the point? To try and win. They've got it. They're the best. I'm jealous. I'm envious of them. Now, I got a nice tan going right now. I don't have like the filter, otherwise if you're watching the show, I don't know if it really shows. But I was red over the weekend. I go and like, yeah, I probably should wear more suntan lotion. But you know, my face is like beet red. But to quote the great Johnny Drama from Entourage, it eventually turns into a maple syrupy brown. But you know, ultimately, on the inside, I'm green. Like the color of this backdrop, the You Better You Bet backdrop behind me. Green with envy at this team. Last note for now on the Dodgers, and we have many layers of the story to address over the rest of this hour here on the show. I've got good news for everyone if you hate the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I mean this. I've got good news for everyone if you hate the Los Angeles Dodgers. You are going to have a really, really fun October rooting against them. In any form of storytelling, and not that sports is not a scripted story, right? But ultimately, sports is a story. The 2026 Major League Baseball season is a story. And that's what we do, people that talk about sports. We are storytellers, using sports as a medium to tell stories, talk about stuff that we really like. Think about iconic stories in your life. Books that you've read, movies that you've watched, TV shows, etc. If I told you or asked you this question, who is the iconic character? Pick one from Star Wars. I'll bet you your answer is Darth Vader. What about The Dark Knight? Is Batman the iconic character from that movie? Or is it Heath Ledger's Joker? What about Silence of the Lambs? Is it a young Jodie Foster? Or is it Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter? And when you think of the challenge, you think of Johnny Bananas. A great villain makes everything more entertaining. And with Tarek Skubal now on the Los Angeles Dodgers, even more so than last October when they were the favorite, or in 2024 when they wiped my Yankees off the face of the earth in October, we have one of the great villains in the history of baseball. And the best villain since my Yankees ruled the roost as the evil empire in the latter parts of last century into this one. What a villain. And I'll say this. Let's say I'm making this up. The Dodgers play the Diamondbacks in their first play. I'm making that up, right? Let's say it's the Diamondbacks. You're going to root for the Diamondbacks, right? You want the Dodgers to lose. But then what happens if the Dodgers lose? You want to watch like Diamondbacks Phillies in the Diamondbacks Braves in the NLCS? Come on. You want the Dodgers to lose? Let them lose in the World Series. Let's get the maximum viewing satisfaction out of this whole experience. Let's get it, man. I'll close here with a question for everybody. I asked this question last year, and the results were close to 50-50, if I recall. I'm curious if that'll be the same this year. For everybody out there, and for the members of our show crew, I'd love for you to answer this question in our show chat, but for everybody, answer this question in your head. If the World Series this year is the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the New York Yankees, who are you going to root for? Who's the babyface and who's the heel? Dodgers versus Yankees. It's a fun question, isn't it? And we're just getting started here on what's sure to be a very fun, magnificent Sports Monday edition of You Better You Bet. We are scratching the surface on the Tarek Skubal trade. We need to get into Milwaukee. We have to get into the Tampa Bay Rays. We need to talk about the Yankees trade for Luis Garcia. We got to talk about the Chicago Cubs acquiring Kevin Gausman and everything that you need to expect as we approach 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, the trade deadline. But we're actually going to start the next segment. We have some major breaking news in the world of sports. and it involves the glorious United States of America. That's coming up next on a Monday, presented by BetMGM.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
John Strong with the call. World Cup on Fox. If you're wondering, hey, why are we playing United States World Cup highlights? I'm going to tell you in just a second, and then we'll get back to Tarek Skubal and the Los Angeles Dodgers. This segment on You Better You Bet, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. We told you last week that it felt like this was going to happen, and the reports were that this is very likely to happen. It is official. Just tweeted out from the United States soccer men's national team X account. Mauricio Pochettino, the Argentine manager, and United States Soccer have agreed on a new contract for Poch to continue as the United States head coach through the 2030 World Cup. So it is official. Mauricio Poch, at least for now, things can go wrong, but it looks like for now, Mauricio Pochettino will manage the United States in 4 years at the next World Cup. And this is A+ for United States soccer. You couldn't have asked for a better... Well, I guess you could have said, well, Pep Guardiola is going to take the job, right? The former Barcelona and Manchester City and Bayern Munich manager. That might have been a little better if, like, Pep Guardiola, like Jurgen Klopp just took the Germany job. Maybe that would have been better. Zinedine Zidane just took the France job. Maybe that would be better. But realistic options for the United States? This is a Grand Slam home run. This is an upper 90 howler. A golazzo. It's awesome. It's tremendous. And I'll just reiterate the things I said after the United States got destroyed, got absolutely annihilated by Belgium and got knocked out of the World Cup. Because in the wake of that game, and look, they were terrible in that game. There's no defending it. They were bad. They looked unprepared. They didn't look ready. And Belgium destroyed them in that game. Also, for whatever it's worth, Belgium is the only team in the tournament to score on Spain. Belgium scored on Spain. And it took a late winner from Spain to advance past Belgium in the next round. Could you imagine if it had been Spain against the United States? So look, I understand, right? The World Cup didn't end the way we wanted it to for the United States. It didn't. You would have liked to have seen them at least be competitive against Belgium like they were in 2014, like they were against the Dutch 4 years ago in Qatar. But if you watch the United States play in the World Cup, and I did, I think you did as well based on the TV ratings, you hopefully know that we have never seen in my lifetime, including 2002, when the United States beat Portugal, beat Mexico in the knockout stage, and almost got into extra time against a Germany club and a Germany team that went to the final and lost to Brazil. This is the best attacking football the United States have ever played. Ever. Ever. Christian Pulisic's going to be only 31 at the next World Cup. There are some stud young players on this team. And with Mauricio Pochettino set to lead the charge, we can have even more optimism heading into 2030 than we did heading into the 2026 World Cup. So good stuff from the United States. Mauricio Pochettino on for another 4 years coaching the men's national team. You better you bet on this Monday, Westwood One Sports, Nick Kostos and you, the show presented by BetMGM. So the Toronto Blue Jays are in the midst of shuffling their pitching rotation around. We have some news as it concerns the Blue Jays pitching staff. Yesterday, trading Kevin Gausman to the Chicago Cubs for apparently, and look, like I told you, I'm not Keith Law. I'm not going to break down, like the FIP and the ex-WOBA of these prospects, but apparently it's a good haul. I don't know, that the Blue Jays got back for Kevin Gausman, who's in the final year of a 5-year contract, in which he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball over that span. As crazy as that is to say. Well, moments ago, the Toronto Blue Jays acquiring right-hander Jose Soriano in a trade with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of North America, of planet Earth, of the Milky Way galaxy. The Blue Jays obviously falling as short as you could possibly fall of winning the World Series last year, losing Game 7 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Blue Jays, for what it's worth, are only 4.5 games out of the final wild card spot in the American League. Traded their second-rated prospect for Soriano. Got Jameson Taillon as well. It feels like the Blue Jays are half-heartedly trying to stay in the race here and contend in the American League. But I think we can all say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, a disappointing season for Toronto And you feel bad for the great Blue Jays fans, and they are awesome, man. Coming so close to winning the World Series last year, losing to the Dodgers, now 8 games under 500, 4.5 games out of the final wild card spot. And it feels like making deals almost just to make deals. And I understand trading Gausman, who's going to be a free agent, and you get something for him. I get it. And Jose Soriano has had good moments this season. Kind of feels like reshuffling deck chairs on the Titanic, what the Toronto Blue Jays are doing with these trades. So wanted to get that into the show. Jose Soriano traded from the Angels to the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays traded yesterday Kevin Gausman to the Chicago Cubs. We'll get to that move coming up in a little bit. But back to Tarik Skubal and the LA Dodgers for a few moments here. I don't know how you're not absolutely pissed off, crushed, if you're a Brewers fan or you're a Rays fan. So I did see some people over the last 24, 48 hours kind of bemoaning the return that the Tigers got, and Detroit now is just going to fade into anonymity for a while after trading Skubal. And like last year, Game 5 against Seattle in the DS, game went like 105 innings. Detroit easily could have won that game, and who knows what happens from there, probably lose to Toronto, but just saying. Couple high leverage spots for Detroit over the last couple years, it doesn't go the Tigers' way, right? The Tigers going to fade into anonymity here. We'll see if any of these prospects turn out to be anything. Now, I have seen a lot of people say, how could this be the haul for Tarik Skubal? But the history of some of these deadline acquisitions of this vein, right? Whether we're talking CC Sabathia in 2008 going from the Indians to the Brewers, the then Cleveland Indians, right? For a rental. And Sabathia would sign with the Yankees that offseason and help pitch the Yankees to a World Series title in 2009. Whether it's Sabathia, whether it's David Price a couple times. What about Cliff Lee once upon a time? The return is generally not the greatest return ever in situations like this. So for me, this is less of like the Tigers wanted to hand that's just asinine. Like, or there's some grand conspiracy here. Like the owners want to force a lockout, so they're helping the Dodgers win the championship. I don't think it's that. I think what happened here is the Milwaukee, and I don't know what the reason is. I can speculate, but it is rampant speculation, and I could be way wrong. Is it possible that the Brewers assessed the situation and said, even with Skubal, we still can't beat the Dodgers? I'm not saying that happened. I don't know. But you're trying to run through, or I am trying to run through in my head, like, what are the reasons behind the Brewers and the Rays not going for it here? Where if you put Tarik Skubal on the Rays, they don't necessarily, like, waltz into the World Series, but I mean, I'm a Yankee fan telling you this. Like, that's the type of thing that, like, I'm a Knicks fan, and I told you when the Sixers got LeBron, that's going to keep me up at night as a Knicks fan. In the same way, Tarik Skubal goes to the Rays, I'm up at night. Are my Yankees going to make the World Series here? And if the Brewers had made this move, and like the Brewers, and maybe, they look at the Sabathia trade, he didn't get them over the hump in 2008, despite him being tremendous. Maybe the Brewers felt they couldn't get it done. But I'll tell you what, would have been fun to find out. Because the Red Sox swept the Dodgers this weekend in Los Angeles. And as a result, the Milwaukee Brewers currently have the best record in the National League, a half game better than the Dodgers. Could you imagine an October 1-2 punch of Jacob Mizorowski and Tarik Skubal? Is that Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling? Is that what that could have been for the Milwaukee Brewers? And they didn't pull the trigger. And maybe they didn't, I don't know, maybe the Dodgers offer was the best offer. It doesn't seem like this was an offer that couldn't be blown out of the water potentially, what the Dodgers traded to get Tarik Skubal. And this will piss people off, and I don't care, because I'm right. If there were such a thing, this is going to make people really mad. It actually makes me a little mad because it's true. If there were such a thing as karma in Major League Baseball, the Dodgers will win the World Series again. If there were karma, the Dodgers wouldn't lose. They would win. Because they are doing everything possible to try and win. They made the big move. They went for it. Establishing themselves as the even bigger favorite. And I think that we will see when we get to October and the end of October and we get to early November, I think we are all going to be saying, remember when Tarek Skubal got traded for this to the Dodgers? And there was the opportunity for so many teams to potentially get better at the deadline. The Brewers don't deserve... Well, and look, we still have time. It's 6 o'clock Eastern, a number of hours away. I would be livid if I were a Brewers fan. And I don't know, this is going to sound like I'm being an a-hole, whatever. I don't know how many Tampa Bay Rays fans there actually are. I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say that. If I were one, I'd be furious. I'd be furious. Because you go back to the World Series with Tarek Skubal. You just do. You go back to the World Series. And do I think Freddie Peralta, my opinion, so the Rays trade for Mets starter Freddie Peralta, formerly of the Brewers, who, of course, signs a big deal with the Mets and is absolutely terrible. Here's my guarantee for everybody as a New York sports fan. Do you remember when I told you on Thursday I was betting the White Sox against the Yankees because I know what happens in spots like this? Like Yankees lose in mind-numbing fashion in extras the night before, they're going to lose the next game. In the same level of confidence I told you that, I will tell you this. Freddie Peralta is going to go to Tampa and he's going to rediscover his form. Freddie Peralta is probably not a New York starting pitcher. And he'll probably go to Tampa and he'll probably be really good. Right? So it's not that like that deal's terrible. It's just that, what do the kids call it? TEMU, Temu, like the Walmart version of something, like the Kirkland version of something. I'm too old and washed up to get all these references. The Temu version, is it Temu? Temu? How do I pronounce it? Like the Kirkland version of Tarek. Here's Freddie Peralta. What? I don't dislike that move. But when you compare it to what they could have had, man, I don't know how you defend it. Take a quick break. And on the other side, some of the other deals that did happen this weekend in Major League Baseball, including my Yankees acquiring slugging infielder Luis Garcia from the Washington Nationals, how I feel about that deal, and more coming up next on this Monday.
Garcia golfs one, and that thing is sky high, and a moonshot that lands over the chop house, on the building, and out of the building. Luis Garcia absolutely hammered that baseball.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Don't let anyone ever tell you Carl Ravitch not a good company man. Laid off by ESPN, contract hasn't run out yet, still calling games. Nationals Braves this past week, Luis Garcia with a homer. He's now the newest member of the New York Yankees. We'll talk about that, and the Philadelphia Phillies have just made a big move. I'll tell you about it in 1 second. But today, BetMGM players will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate that token. If you win the wager made with the token, you'll receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today. And please, 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 gamble responsibly. Okay, breaking news in Major League Baseball today on trade deadline day. The Philadelphia Phillies have acquired San Francisco Giants second baseman Luis Arraez. So Arraez goes from San Francisco to Philadelphia, where he will presumably be the leadoff hitter for the Phillies. Trey Turner has, by and large, been the leadoff hitter this year for Philly. He has been miserable. And I think pretty clearly is not like the future at shortstop for the Phillies, although his contract is untradeable. Kind of like the Joel Embiid of Philadelphia baseball, for Philadelphia basketball. Not as good as Embiid when Embiid plays. So Arraez gets on base. Now, I think people that are deep in the weeds on baseball analytics may not love Arraez, who always has a high batting average, has won some batting titles, hitting .324 this year. Doesn't have a ton of power. But for a Phillies team that desperately needs someone at the top of the lineup that can get on base, this offense needs a jolt. Bryce Harper told you that earlier this week and then got into like a quasi-war of words with Don Mattingly. Some are questioning like Bryce Harper's future in Philadelphia beyond this season. So the Phillies are trying to push here to have an October run, and the San Francisco Giants had to do this, right? Arraez is going to be a free agent at the end of the season, going to walk, so you get something for Arraez. I don't know what prospects they traded. Doesn't really matter. None of us know who they are. Who cares? Luis Arraez going to the Philadelphia Phillies. He'll presumably play second and will bat leadoff. I like this move a lot for Dave Dombrowski and the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, back to the Yankees, who trade for Nationals infielder and New York native. I love that. Luis Garcia, who's got 23 homers this season, leading the National League in slugging percentage. Not bad for 4 pitchers. Now, I generally am pessimistic, I would say, and I lean towards negativity as it regards my favorite baseball team, the New York Yankees. I don't think there's much to be negative about. I really like this deal for my Bronx Bombers. And the funny thing about this deal, and I'm curious if you agree, you, the big sports fan consuming the show, to me, is this a move for October? Of course. But to me, this almost feels more like a move for August and September for the Yankees than it does for October. The Yankees desperately need offense right now, with Aaron Judge out, with Giancarlo Stanton out, and with Cody Bellinger out. And now bringing in Garcia, and I'll just say this. Garcia's played second in his career. He is a defensive liability. You cannot play him at second base in the postseason. Like the Yankees have done this in the past with shoddy defenses. We saw how it worked out in the World Series a couple years ago against the Dodgers when they needed Tom Emanski to teach them the basics of how to field the baseball in Game 5 of that World Series a couple years ago. So my sense is that Garcia, and it's a good problem for the Yankees to have, right? Because when Stanton comes back, he's going to DH. Then what do you do with Ben Rice? Then what happens with Paul Goldschmidt? Then what happens with Luis Garcia? Do you try Garcia at second and play Jazz Chisholm at third? I don't know if that's the best option, but that's a problem down the line when hopefully the Yankees get their guys back, led by Aaron Judge, of course, get them back healthy. That, though, is a trade for the Yankees for now. Hold up, try and catch the Rays atop the AL East, and at worst, hold on to the top spot in the American League wildcard race. Now, David Bednar closed out the Cubs yesterday. Yankees took 2 of 3 in Wrigley from the Cubs. And David Bednar hasn't blown a save since like 2.5 months ago against Tyrone Taylor and the Mets. So Bednar has been really good. Teams can always use bullpen help. Doesn't feel like at this point, we have time, but it feels like the Padres are going to hold on to Mason Miller. We'll see what the Yankees do as a pivot to try and acquire a bullpen arm. But I'm expecting the Yankees to do something in between now and 6 o'clock Eastern that is less of a trade for August and September and more of a trade for October. And my best guess right now, looking at the balance of power in the American League, and things can change in between now and 6, right? That'll change the way I come on the air tomorrow and handicap the American League for you. As it stands right now, I do think the Yankees will represent the American League in the World Series. To be clear, I think that is more a function of the AL not being great this year than it is the Yankees being great, and I expect the Yankees to get waxed by whoever they play in the World Series if and when they get there. Love this trade for Luis Garcia, but Brian Cashman has more work to do before 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Hour 1 done, hour 2 for you. Coming up on the other side, we got to talk Red Sox. We're going to talk Chicago Cubs, the Chicago White Sox as well, some National Football League with the Texans, the Cowboys, and the Jaguars as well. Coming up next on You Better You Bet.
biggest names in the business are on You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Hey, this is Joe Buck, and you have done it. You have found it. You are listening to You Better You Bet. Great decision.
This is Bob Costas, not Kostos, but you are listening to Nick Kostos on You Better You Bet.
Hi, this is Kevin Harlan of CBS, Westwood One, and TNT, and I'm listening as you do every day to You Better You Bet with the most handsome single man in the radio business. A man who, if I was not married for 38 years, I might consider myself the kind of guy that can electrify a listening audience and a crowd of bystanders watching him do what he does so well each and every day. Continue to listen right here on You Better You Bet.
This is You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports, brought to you by BetMGM.
The magnificent Sports Monday edition of You Better You Bet rolls on. Nick Kostos, our crew, minus our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman, who lives out on Long Island in New York. Yeah, ridiculous storms going on right now in New York City. I think throughout the Northeast, everybody stay safe. Flash flood warnings. I walked out of my house at 6 a.m. this morning to drive to the office to do the show, and it was pouring. Not used to getting absolutely soaked at 6 a.m., but that's what happened today. So hope everybody has power locally here in the Northeast area, in the New York City area. And again, like flash flooding and all that good stuff. So hope everybody stays safe out in this ridiculous. I can hear it right now. You don't hear it on the air, thankfully, but the rain is battering this building I'm in right now. So hope everybody is staying safe. Love the first hour of the show today. I'm biased. I usually do love it. And if I didn't, I'd never tell you. So much on the Dodgers trading for Tarik Skubal. Why I think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series this year, going to three-peat. Skubal, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Snell, Glasnow. Silly. And you're not angry at the Dodgers. You're jealous of the Dodgers. Now, I am man enough to admit it, that I'm jealous of them. I'm green with envy at Dodger Blue. They are the most well-run and the model franchise in all of professional sports. Baseball, hockey, basketball, football, the Dodgers, number one, king of the hill, top of the list. These little town blues, they're the best. They're the best. They are capitalism distilled down into a sports organization. The ruthless pursuit of making money, but with the knowledge that winning helps make money. They do everything possible to win. They've got a loaded farm system. They are perfection. And I'm jealous. And you know what? I'll do this here. I want to get this into the show today. And I did, you should be following me on social media at the Kostos, TheKostos. Posted this video yesterday morning. It was a Yankees theme video. And it's done very well on social media. Because I think a lot of Yankees fans, it resonates with them, right? No one wants to hear, okay, I get it. Like everyone hates the Yankees. I understand. I'll just say, as a Yankee fan, because I am one, lifelong, die hard, I love my team. This used to be my team. The Yankees used to be the evil empire. Now it's the Dodgers. And I miss the old Yankees. I miss the George Steinbrenner New York Yankees. The evil empire New York Yankees. That would go out and try and trade for Tarik Skubal. And then try and get Luis Arias. Do everything they can to win a World Series championship. Now, the Yankees and Hal Steinbrenner, trust fund baby, way more concerned with not paying the luxury tax than they are with winning World Series championships. And it makes me sick as a Yankee fan. I'm angry at the Yankees, but I'm not angry at the Dodgers. I'm jealous of the LA Dodgers. We talked about the Yankees' acquisition of Luis Garcia, why I like it. Gave you a couple pieces of breaking news. The Phillies trading for Luis Arias, second baseman from the San Francisco Giants. Arias will bat leadoff, presumably, for the Phillies. And Trey Turner will get bumped down the lineup, which absolutely needs to happen. And the Blue Jays replacing Kevin Gausman in their rotation, traded to the Cubs over the weekend with Angel starter Jose Soriano. We'll talk some Cubs coming up in a little bit. We'll talk about the Boston Red Sox, who swept the Dodgers this weekend in L.A. Next segment here on the show, my friend Sal Licata will join to talk some baseball later this hour. But while we have the opportunity here, and also we got into Mauricio Pochettino re-signing with the United States men's national team. He will coach USA through the 2030 World Cup. A+ on that transaction by the United States. Let's talk some NFL now. So baseball trade deadline's going to come and go. Scooble, presumably the biggest piece of news, the biggest domino to fall. So my sense is that tomorrow on the show, we're going to do, 70% NFL probably. This happens to be a day where we do a lot of baseball. So let's get some National Football League into the show now, with training camps obviously in full swing. Couple topics I'd like to hit. I started the show saying that I feel like you are probably, I'm not, and I would be honest and tell you if I were, but my sense is that you are probably sleeping right now on the AFC South as a division. Now, I don't like the Tennessee Titans this year because Robert Saleh's the coach and Brian Dable's calling the plays on offense. I'm not falling for it with the Tennessee Titans. I think the Colts have a tremendous range of outcomes here, where they could win 12 games, and I don't know if I'd be floored, or win 5 games, and I don't know if I'd be floored. So let's leave those two teams alone for a second. Indy and Tennessee, although I don't think Tennessee has high upside, I am acknowledging the Colts do. I want to leave those two teams to the side for a moment. And I want to discuss the way the betting market has it, and I think the betting market's right. The top two teams in the AFC South, the Houston Texans, plus 120 at BetMGM to win the division, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, the reigning defending AFC South champions, are at plus 210. Over the weekend, the Houston Texans, this is like a juicy bit of storytelling, right? 12 years after the Texans made Jadeveon Clowney the first overall pick of the 2014 draft. Maybe should have picked Aaron Donald. Just saying. Anyway, Texans took Jadeveon Clowney first overall in 2014. Jadeveon Clowney, who lives in Houston, has signed a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. The thought was going to be, at the end of last week, Clowney visited with the Cleveland Browns, and Browns general manager Andrew Berry had hoped to get a deal done with Jadeveon Clowney. Remember, we addressed that at the end of the week. Clowney, 8.5 sacks last year for the Dallas Cowboys. So look, like, he's not what he was at South Carolina, obviously, but he still got it. Like, Clowney still got it to a degree as a rotational pass rusher. He says the decision was not about money and that this was an, quote, easy decision for him. So I think we can infer from that he took less money to go to Houston than he would have to sign with the Cleveland Browns. Now, why would he do that? Because he wants to win a championship. And the one hole that you might have been able to poke, and I actually don't think it's a hole, but maybe you could have said so. The one hole on the Houston Texans defense could have been depth at edge rusher, right? Now, look what happened to Green Bay with Micah Parsons out. Like, you lose one of the best edge rushers in the league, like, your defense is going to get worse. So what if something happens to Will Anderson? What if something happens to Danielle Hunter? Not that Clowney is as good as as either of them. He is not, but he's capable, right? Like, way better than most teams could bring off the bench to rush the passer. The Texans' defense is unassailable. If it stays healthy, it's going to be in the, you could say Philly, you could say Seattle, you could say Denver. There are other teams that you could bring up to have the best defense in the league. The Texans, for me, are at the top of the list. You can talk about regression and say, well, they can't possibly be as good as they were last year. Really? Why not? Do you see who the players are? Very well coached. Will Anderson, I think, is going to be the defensive player of the year this year in the National Football League. The defense is sick, ridiculously good. So with Houston, it's all going to come down, of course, to C.J. Stroud on offense. And I will continue to beat this drum as it concerns the Houston Texans. I'm not asking. Remember we had Warren Moon on the show last week? I don't need C.J. Stroud to be 1993 Warren Moon, like Moon was for the Oilers. I don't need that. I don't even need C.J. Stroud to be what he was his rookie year, a couple of years ago, when he set the league on fire and the Texans went to the divisional rounds of the postseason. I don't even need that to happen. What I need, and you need, and Texans fans need, and Texans bettors need, and the Houston Texans themselves need, what they need, and we need, is average play from C.J. Stroud. Can he be average? and have moments of brilliance, which we know he's got in him because we've seen it before. That's all they need. And they can go to the Super Bowl. And they'll win the AFC South, even if and I'll get to Jacksonville in a second, and I think Jacksonville's going to be good again. They'll win the AFC South. I think they could win like 13 games. They're going to beat Buffalo in week 1. A banger of a week 1 game, by the way, Buffalo at Houston. And I wouldn't be shocked if we get to Super Bowl 61, February in Los Angeles, and the Houston Texans are representing the AFC. Can C.J. Stroud just be average? Can the offensive line, this remade, reshaped offensive line, just be average? The Texans can be a Super Bowl team if that is the case. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I mean this, I think it's a really fun debate and conversation as to which team's actually better of the two. Because while there are questions about C.J. Stroud, there are no questions about Trevor Lawrence. The questions about Trevor Lawrence are not like, is he a franchise quarterback? Like, there are legitimate questions about C.J. Stroud in that regard, and I acknowledge that, right? The questions about Trevor Lawrence are, can he ever ascend to that level, like the rarefied air occupied by like Mahomes or Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and others? Can he get to that level? But he a damn good quarterback. Liam Cohen, year 2, stud offensive coach and play caller, and obviously did a great job last year as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this offense, now I think Houston's better because I think Houston's defense will overwhelm Jacksonville's offensive line, and I'll take a great defense over a great offense, but I'm just saying, the Jaguars don't have to play the Texans 17 times. They have to play them twice. This Jaguars offense has the ability to be the number 1 offense in the NFL this year. It's in the range of outcomes. Can the offensive line hold up against the best pass rushes? If it can, they're going to score 1 billion points. You don't have to read the training camp reports because I do. I'm obsessed with it. I listen to podcasts. I read everything. I watch everything, right? So it's possible. So how about this as a thought exercise? Think about Jacksonville Jaguars receivers for a second. Just think about their receivers and who comes to mind. Do you know who, reportedly, and from everything that I can gather from people that I know that are close to the situation, who the best Jaguars receiver has been at training camp? Do you know who it is? Now, when I ask the question, name Jaguars receivers, I'll bet you went to Brian Thomas, first round pick a couple years ago. Maybe you went to Jacoby Myers, who they traded for last year. Maybe you even went to Travis Hunter, second pick of the draft last year, right? None of those guys. It's Parker Washington. Parker Washington, who has been, by all accounts, like unguardable at training camp. BTJ, by all accounts, is going to have an awesome third season after a sophomore slump last year. Jacoby Myers is dependable, and I want everybody to, I don't care. Don't do it if you don't want to. But if you want to, Google at some point today, Travis Hunter training camp this weekend, and read the reports from what Travis Hunter did at Jaguars training camp this weekend. That he starred not just on offense, but also on defense. And find a video or pictures of Travis Hunter this weekend doing media interviews. He's jacked. He looks like he put on 15 or 20 pounds of muscle. Like, look at the pictures. It's a big deal. Because Travis Hunter, if you recall, coming out of college, was not just thought to be a potential generational cornerback prospect, but a spectacular wide receiver prospect as well. And remember, before he got hurt in London against the Rams, had his best game catching the ball. BTJ, Travis Hunter, Jacoby Myers, and maybe the best of the bunch is actually Parker Washington. Plus the tight ends, including 2 they drafted, Nate Borkature being the first one, with Brenton Strange, Doctor's son. This offense is going to cook. Now, I'll take the Texans over the Jags in the AFC South. But as it stands, I'm going to have to leave at least one awesome team out of the playoffs in the AFC. I'm leaning towards both the Texans and the Jags making the postseason this year. You bet on this Monday. Nick Kostos and you, Westwood One Sports. Last NFL note, we'll try and do Ricky Pearsall and Deebo Samuel a little later in the show as well. But I need to get this in today. I've spent a lot of time this offseason talking about my optimism in the Dallas Cowboys. Christian Parker going to run the defense. Sal Palantonio's on the show a couple months ago telling me and you that Christian Parker could be a future head coach. Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence in the draft. Pretty awesome. You have Rashawn Gary, full season of Quentin Williams. George Pickens is back. The offense should cook. I like Shadi as a head coach. I do think that there is some cause for concern right now with the Dallas Cowboys. And it is a very specific cause for concern. And I am concerned about it as someone that's been beating the drum for the Cowboys this offseason. The concern lies at offensive tackle. Terrence Steele is the incumbent at right tackle. Now, Terrence Steele is an excellent run blocker, but not the best pass blocker. Brandon Thorne, who writes for Establish the Run, does offense, and one of the most respected line analysts when it comes to the National Football League, has said this about Terrence Steele, right? So I'm not going to lie and tell you I'm grinding the film. But I read what a lot of experts say and listen to what a lot of experts say. And Terrence Steele is not the best pass blocker. Okay. Now let's look at left tackle, where Tyler Guyton, former first-round pick, right, is presumed to be the left tackle. The Dallas Cowboys are currently undergoing right now at training camp an open competition for the left tackle spot. Does that sound good to anybody? Does that sound like what you want? As Tyler Guyton competes with Nate Thomas and rookie Drew Shelton to start at left tackle? Now, maybe you want to say, well, they're just trying to kick the young kid in the ass. What would be better? Having to kick the young kid in the ass or have the young kid be the guy at left tackle, protecting the blind side of the franchise quarterback, Dak Prescott? The Dallas Cowboys open the NFL season this year at the New York Football Giants on Sunday night, September 13th. Do I think the Cowboys are better than the Giants? Yes, I do. But it doesn't take that much of an imagination to picture a game where the tackles, even if Guyton wins the left tackle job, this is not exactly a vote of confidence in him to have an open competition at training camp for his job, where the left tackle struggles and the right tackle struggles in pass protection. Here's Brian Burns. Here's Abdul Carter. Here's Kayvon Thibodeau. Here's Arvell Reese. I'm starting to have second thoughts about my opinion on that game with my Giants hosting the Dallas Cowboys. On the other side, we'll talk about Ricky Pearsall out for the season for the San Francisco 49ers and meet the new replacement, same as the old wide receiver in San Francisco, and more analysis of some trades we saw this weekend in Major League Baseball, including Kevin Gausman to the Chicago Cubs, right after this on Westwood One Sports.
Little pop to Debo, touchdown. That'll go down as a touchdown pass. Those are the kinds we like. And Debo took care of the rest.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Joe Buck on the call. That was Debo Samuel's last touchdown as a San Francisco 49er. Smart Money says Debo will have at least one more this season. Because in case you missed it over the weekend, God. You can always tell people that play Dynasty Fantasy Football when just like, hey, I saw news like 5 minutes ago in real time. Dalton Kincaid limps out of Bills practice. Just like, again, here we go again. It's the same thing every year. Ricky Pearsall out for the season for the Niners. And look, I'm just being real. I play a ton of Dynasty Fantasy Football. I have Ricky Pearsall in many leagues. I'm not thrilled with this development. Obviously, you feel for the young man first and foremost. I know that. Just trying to inject a little humor into the proceedings as someone who loves this stuff, right? Pearsall's out for the year for the 49ers, and it has been a star-crossed NFL career thus far for him. So San Francisco, after placing Pearsall on season-ending injured reserve, because Niners doctors somehow, someway didn't operate on him during the, just like, I want to love them, and they're making it really difficult. They're making it difficult. The Niners replace him by bringing Debo Samuel back, 1 year, $7 million deal. Debo played last season in Washington with the Commanders. Now, Debo knows the offense, obviously. Played under Kyle Shanahan for a long time, knows Purdy, like, he's going to be fine. He's not terrible. But can we just, like, we can tell the truth, right? We're all friends here. It's a huge downgrade going from Ricky Pearsall's potential, where Pearsall, I don't know if he'll ever get there at this point, but like his potential is to be one of the better receivers in the league. Going from that to this version of Debo Samuel. I have loved the San Francisco 49ers all offseason long. They're getting harder to love. Getting a lot harder to love. We have a piece of breaking news and I don't have a lot of info to share, just want to give this news here. Chicago Bears safety Kobe Bryant carted out of practice this morning. So Bears safety Kobe Bryant carted off practice. Remember, he's a free agent acquisition for the Chicago Bears. They lost Kevin Byard to the New England Patriots. So this is very bad for the Chicago Bears if Kobe Bryant's going to be out for a significant period of time. A big deal. After, obviously, he's on the Seahawks, helps them win a Super Bowl, comes over to play safety along with Dylan Thieneman for Chicago, carted out of practice this morning for the Bears. Terrible news for Chicago. Now, Shamar Stewart, remember last week we were talking like Shamar Stewart was out for the year? It turns out he's out only 8 weeks, despite looking like he had snapped his leg in half. So Kobe Bryant could be fine, but wanted to get that news into the show. The Bears defense is not exactly its calling card. Might have lost Kobe Bryant for a period of time. We'll bring you more information when we get it. Friend of the show, Sal Licata, will join us in a few minutes, but before that, a couple other Major League Baseball takes for you in rapid-fire fashion. The Chicago Cubs dealing for Blue Jay starter Kevin Gausman. I like this move for Chicago. Now, Gausman, if you just look at his record this year and look at his stats, obviously he has not been great, but worth noting, he has pitched better as of late for the Chicago Cubs. He's been better as of late for the Toronto Blue Jays, now going to pitch for Chicago. And the Cubs, who have suffered so many injuries to their pitching staff this year, getting a little healthier as we approach the end of the season. I like this, and a proven postseason performer in Kevin Gausman for Chicago. The Chicago White Sox trading for Seattle Mariners starter Luis Castillo. Sir Anthony Dominguez, part of a package that goes to the Mariners for Luis Castillo. Castillo going to be the fourth starter for Chicago, going to eat some innings, might make the postseason rotation. Dominguez failed as White Sox closer. The White Sox should not be done as we approach the deadline. Catcher and closer, a bullpen arm and a catcher, I think important positions for the White Sox to be targeting as we approach 6 o'clock Eastern. And my last note would be on the Boston Red Sox, who sweep the Dodgers this weekend and have won 15 of 16 on the road for the first time in franchise history since the Ted Williams-led 1939 team that lost in the World Series. The offense is mashing. The pitching has been very good. Garrett Crochet could be back before the end of the year. We'll see about Roman Anthony. This American League is not good compared to what it typically is. It is not. I know they traded for Curtis Mead, and it's unfortunate that he got hurt, and they traded like a pitcher already in Connolly early to make it happen. If I'm Craig Breslow, and I'm the Boston Red Sox, if I'm a Red Sox fan, you got to go out and you got to do something today. You got to push some chips in here because the potential is there for the Red Sox to win a bad American League this year. And with the way they've been playing and swinging the bats, just bash the Dodgers this weekend in LA, it would be a baseball crime if the Red Sox didn't go for it this year. We'll take a break. And coming up next, we'll rap about all things Major League Baseball. I'm going to ask my friend Sal Licata of the Sal Licata Show if the Dodgers are ruining the sport. Sal Licata joins me next here on You Better You Bet.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Bounces one up the middle. Pitch to the back. Over to first to beat the champ. You gotta knock him out. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Joe Davis, Kendrick Lamar, and DJ Mustard. Not the collab that I ever thought that I would get on a Monday morning, but there you have it. And look, let's be honest. When it comes to Major League Baseball, the rest of the teams, other than the LA Dodgers, not like them. And the Dodgers can say they're not like us. It's me. I'm just I'm aware of things happening in pop culture. Shower me with praise. Today, BetMGM players will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and and also, that's even better because they beat the Blue Jays and Drake's from Toronto. I didn't even realize that part of it. That's it. It's a great job by Laura. I think Laura was trying to strike a chord there with that song. Whether it was A minor or not, I'm not sure. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win your wager made with the token, you'll receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly. Joining us now on the show, one of my absolute favorites, one of the best sports talkers in the country. It's great to have him hosting You Better You Bet. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I don't know. Summer flies by. Good friend of the show, good friend of mine, and host of the Sal Licata Show that you can find. Podcast forum, YouTube, doing great work with our friend John Jastrzemski as well for a sports book I can't mention on the air, but a former friend of mine, that sports book, the great Sal Licata, on Twitter at Sal__ Licata. Welcome back to the show, buddy. How's it going?
What a freaking intro that was. Hey, by the way, how do I get paid? I got to invoice somebody for that show that we did a couple of weeks ago, so maybe we could figure that out later.
All I can tell you is that it's not me. It's like you can text me about the stuff we normally text about. Don't ask me about the money though. I got nothing to do with the money. No,
just kidding. I love hanging out with you, and it was fun to fill in for you. So what's going on? What do you want to discuss today? I need you to come on my show, by the way, soon, so we can talk some NFL, because I hear your voice and I'm like, ooh yeah, football season, here we go. Nobody does it better than you, so I'm ready to go. In a couple of weeks, I want you on my show.
I led the show with it today, just like I led with Scooble. But before I led with Scooble, do you realize we have football? There's a game on Thursday night, the Hall of Fame game with the Cardinals and the Panthers. We'll talk about that more coming up this week. But the reason why, and I think our audience knows you at this point, right? And obviously people in the New York metropolitan area know you as well. Sal is a bigger baseball fan than me. Like, I love baseball. I would say Sal loves Major League Baseball. Maybe the biggest baseball fan I've ever known in my life. So a lot of people, Sal, are up in arms over the Dodgers trade for Scooble. Dodgers are ruining baseball. As someone who is obsessed with baseball in a way, I'm not at that, I love it more than the average person, but you are even above me. Where do you come down on this, the idea that the Dodgers are ruining baseball with this Tarek Scooble trade?
I think the Dodgers are making everybody else look bad. So I could hate the Dodgers and not want to root for the Dodgers and not like the Dodgers, but I respect what they're doing. As a matter of fact, I wish that others would do what they are doing, in particular the two teams in New York. And the only reason why I say that, not only because I love New York and I'm a Met fan, but even want to see the Yankees have success, it's because there aren't many teams that can compete with the Dodgers at that level. The Yankees are one. The Mets would, but the Mets are miles behind being competitive. They can't go head-to-head with the big bad Dodgers. They can financially, but I'm talking about trying to win. I thought the Yankees should have been more aggressive at this deadline in hammering a strength and going to get a guy like Tarek Scooble. Why? Because as the Dodgers correctly said, they identified, their strategy, get this, Nick, their strategy was to identify the impact player, or players, in this case player, and then go get him. What isn't that what everybody should be doing? Hey, here's the best player available on the market. We're the best team. We want to be even better. Let's go get him. Why mess around? And I want to use another word, but I know we're on radio. Why mess around with other lesser players when we can just go get the best? How did the Yankees not up? Dude, you're a Yankee fan. They used to do that all the time. They've been lapped a million times over by the Dodgers. So to me, it's not the Dodgers. It's everybody else that's the problem, not wanting it as much as the Dodgers do.
And for the people, and I think you can speak to this, right? For people that are criticizing the return that the Tigers got in the trade for Scooble, this kind of seems to be when pitchers of this ilk get traded that are like rentals, and look, the Dodgers could sign Skubal to an extension. This kind of seems to be like the general return if we go back to Cliff Lee, Sabathia going from the then Indians to the Milwaukee Brewers, David Price. Like, we've seen this happen in the past. So if that's true, Sal, let's leave the Yankees to the side for a moment. I don't want to, but let's do it. Why in the world would the Milwaukee Brewers or the Tampa Bay Rays not try and beat this offer? Like, what the hell happened that the Dodgers were the team that ultimately consummated this for a bunch of prospects that I think people way smarter than me are saying this is not the greatest haul of all time?
Right, but we really don't know. First of all, nobody knows. The teams themselves have no idea about these prospects. Okay, it is the biggest gamble, period. It's like, this guy's ranked this way. Come on, give me a break. Nobody knows. Then the other thing would be is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you're the Tigers and you identify the players on the Dodgers that you want specifically, even if the Brewers come with a better package or whoever, Yankees, Rays, it doesn't matter. Like, the Brewers could say, hey, we'll give you these 6 guys instead of their 4. But maybe you like one of those 4 from the Dodgers better. I'm assuming that's how it would operate. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. So if I'm the Brewers, like, did they just get to a point where it's like, we're not comfortable giving that? And then the Tigers just say, well, the Dodgers gave us more. I would tend to think that it's more about the Tigers having a familiarity with the Dodgers system, because maybe they were talking about this even preseason, and identifying certain players within that system that they wanted more. And I'm not so sure that Milwaukee or Tampa could have blown them out of the water. But again, I don't know. It's not like I know every farm system. I'm just trying to use a little common sense and logic, because otherwise there is no excuse. The Brewers should be doing whatever it takes. The Brewers should be begging them. Oh, you're not going to take us 6, we'll give you 8. Yeah, well,
they blew it, right? Because, I mean, look, if you put let's say the Brewers had made this deal, and it's Jacob Mizorowski and Skubal as the 1-2 punch. Yeah. Is that like Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, where if the Brewers had made that deal, would you have picked the Brewers to beat the Dodgers potentially in the NLCS? I just don't understand how you let an opportunity like this slip away if you're Milwaukee, and like, maybe I'm missing something here with the Brewers.
If their fear was because it was only a 2-month rental, then that is absolutely foolish, and that is why teams that lose the way the Brewers do, and when I say lose, like,
or why the Dodgers win.
Correct.
Why the Dodgers win.
You can't operate like that. And then you sit back there and you kick yourself thinking, like, not only did you not get the player to get better, they got better. The team that you were looking to beat, they got better. If I were to line up, it's why I wanted the Yankees to get him, but you could put obviously the Brewers in this position. If I were to line up that rotation where you go with the Miz and Skubal, that's your best shot to beat the Dodgers. Those guys as a 1-2 punch, everybody else in that lineup, whatever, but you're going to have an advantage with game 1 and game 2. At the very least, you're on par with the Dodgers, maybe even better than the Dodgers. If the Yankees added Skubal, Schlittler, Skubal, Cole, Fried, that is better than the Dodgers rotation. If you face them in the World Series, now you have one up on them in your rotation. Where else are you getting better? You couldn't. So for the Brewers, the Yankees, I really think a missed opportunity. And then not only did they not get him, he goes to the team you were trying to close the gap with. It's ridiculous.
Hey, you just made me so sick to my stomach, because you're 100% right as the Yankees are concerned. We'll talk about the Yankees trade for Luis Garcia in a second, but just for the Dodgers, I said at the start of the show, and it's funny, right? You know, you're a huge baseball fan and like a baseball historian. We're probably, not definitely, but probably going to say in the long, illustrious, storied history of the Brooklyn LA Dodgers that this is going to be the greatest run they've ever had if they complete this and win 3 straight World Series championships. First time since the Yankees did it. I forget who they beat for the third one in 2000. We can leave that question for another time, though, Sal. But as we now, Sal's a Mets fan, sorry. But as we kind of like play this out here, who's beating them?
No, don't you just think it's like law of averages? I don't think you could pick a team to say that, well, I think this team is better. On paper, nobody. Nobody in any division, any league is better than the Dodgers.
But other boring than, health, like if they're healthy, how is it happening?
But the counter would be they almost got beat in 5 by the Padres 2 years ago. They almost got beat by the Blue Jays last year in the World Series. So now I know almost doesn't count in baseball, but it's not like there's some juggernaut that's, they're not. It's not like they're the Knicks running through the NBA Eastern Conference.
I love that. We've got to take the opportunity now while we can as Knicks fans to do that. I like it.
I mean, Knicks breaking out the brooms left and right. Oh, big bad Wemby and the Spurs. All right, they got a game. Wow, you tip your cap. It's not like they run through like a juggernaut through the NBA playoffs. So the Dodgers haven't done that. So that just makes me think law of averages in sport. We've seen this before, whatever sport it is. Even the most dominant teams don't dominate. So, but outside of that, logically speaking, practically speaking, analytically speaking, no. I mean, the Dodgers should win every series, probably by a wide margin.
I'm being serious. I guess anything can happen in a short series. Scooble, dude.
Right.
Yamamoto.
Right.
Ohtani, Snell, Glass. This is preposterous.
Yeah, and they're going to be, it's one after another. Like, obviously, it's not, well, who's in the bullpen? Well, I mean, not only do they have loaded guy potentially, if Diaz comes back and he looks apart, or they use one of those guys you just mentioned, just like they did last year.
Here's Tarek Scooble out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
are you kidding?
Yeah,
Yamamoto out of the bullpen. Are you kidding here? It's absolutely ridiculous. You bet on a Monday. Nick Kostos joined by my friend Sal Licata here on the program. So maybe this is a weak spot of mine as a talk show host, someone that talks about sports for a living. I have not spent a lot of time, and maybe I should, and I'm admitting I'm saying that, right? I am not thinking about 2027 in Major League Baseball. I like to think about games, like what's about to happen right now. What are you expecting in terms of a lockout? And is this Tarek Scooble news, you think, going to impact this and maybe make it more likely that there is a lockout and we'll lose games next season?
There was some I was just talking with JJ before, like he's like, I'm convinced that this is a conspiracy thing, and the Tigers purposely traded Scooble to the Dodgers. So
JJ, come on, JJ.
Yeah, I'm like, bro.
Yeah. I love JJ just like you do. Come on, JJ.
I know, same thing, and I'm more with you, Nick. Like, I don't want to, dude. Even BT, my former radio partner, like talking about things last year, like, oh, it's going to be a lockout. I'm like, bro, like, I can't worry about 2027. Let's focus on the games now. I want to watch the games and enjoy the stuff now. I'm not worried about the lockout. But as we get closer to the end of the season and moves like this start to happen, I don't think that the Scooble move is going to change anything. The sport was probably headed for a lockout regardless come December or whenever they lock out. There's going to, like, you've read the news. I don't pay attention to it, but I see the news about where we're at with the CBA and where the owners are at and where the players are at. Like, the owners want a salary cap. That's just not happening. The players aren't going to budge and give a cap. So I am anticipating, based on everything that I've heard, it seems like we are clearly headed for a lockout, which was before the Tigers and thought about trading Scooble to the Dodgers. So I would anticipate a lockout. I'm hoping that we don't miss any games. I think it would be horrible for the sport of baseball, who's finally starting to get some juice back a little bit and have fans behind them. I'll tell you this, if I didn't do this for a living, I'd be out. If they broke my heart in 94 with a strike.
You wouldn't.
No, if not for doing this for a living, dude, like how many times?
No way. I know you. I just know, like, my opinion, look, I'm not you to say this 100%. I think you love and hate are sides of the same coin. I think because you love it so much, you would be so angry if it happened, but I think you'd be back. You love it too much.
Maybe this is me telling myself, like, you wish you could be out, and I want to be out.
You'll never be out. That's okay.
But dude, here's the problem with baseball. Well, we love sports, right? So ultimately we'll never be out. But how many times are they going to spit in your face before you realize, dude, I can't do this anymore? Like, they're all greedy pigs. The players make $1 billion. The owners have billions of dollars. Like, stop screwing the fans. We've got to pay hundreds of dollars for tickets, $50 for parking. Like, enough. And then on top of that, I don't even mind paying. What I mind is I don't want to miss games. During the pandemic, and this was really like the first time that it started to push me over the top. During the pandemic, where we desperately needed baseball, I needed something. They were being greedy pigs and had a work stoppage then. That impact, like, they were fighting over stuff during a pandemic. People are hunkered down. You can't do anything. Can't go to the supermarket. And they're fighting over not having these games being played. It drove me nuts. So that just shows you that they don't care about you or I or you, the listener. They care about themselves and the money. And I've had it with the disrespect. But I am afraid that baseball is so stupid that they won't worry about the good equity that they've built up and that they will, in fact, miss games. And to me, that's unacceptable.
Listen, who needed Yankees Red Sox in summer 2020 when you could watch the Bundesliga soccer or Russian ping pong late at night or KBO? Who needed it? Anyway, I try to block all of that out. Want to get your thoughts on a couple trades that went down, some this morning and a couple over the weekend. Have about 4 minutes left here, so let's hit as much as we can. You were just doing a show prior to this one, so in case you didn't see it, The Philadelphia Phillies acquired Luis Arias from the San Francisco Giants. I don't have word on the compensation, but Arias presumably will play second and bat leadoff for the Phillies. Bryce Harper last week saying the Phillies need help. They got some this morning with Arias. How do you like that deal for the Philadelphia Phillies?
I love it. High contact guy, high average guy, a player that has been devalued in today's Major League Baseball. By the way, he got better defensively. Like, the knocks on him, it always felt like it was an excuse for teams like the Yankees to not go get him, because we're saying, like, you need some balance. Everybody was at the launch angle and home runs, all or nothing, strikeouts, true outcomes, whatever. Here's a guy who hits 300 every year, the way that it used to be. But then it's like, oh, well, he doesn't have a position. Well, he's gotten himself to be a better second baseman to the point where he says he's not playing anywhere but second base. So I love the fact, and he's going to a hitter-friendly ballpark in Philadelphia and a good lineup there. I'm excited to watch Arias play again with the East Coast team here and with a team like the Phillies. I hate it from a Mets perspective, don't get me wrong, but I think Arias is a good fit. He's a good offensive player.
Curious if you'll agree or just because you know more about this stuff than me, if you agree or disagree with my assessment of the Yankees trade for Luis Garcia. To me, this feels like, and obviously you want him to be great in October, it almost feels more like a trade for August and September, keeping the first wild card spot or winning the American League East. More pop on offense with Judge out, with Stanton out, and with Bellinger out. So thoughts on Garcia? Where is he going to play? Is he going to first, DH? What do you think about Luis Garcia to the Yankees here in about a minute?
I think it's a great question. Look, they brought in maybe the best available bat at the trade deadline, so you can't argue that. They desperately needed offense. He's going to DH, and he'll play some first base. That is it, which is redundant from what they have. Ben Rice, the best maybe first baseman / DH in baseball right now. Then when they get healthy with Stanton back, I don't know how Garcia is going to fit, so I think you nailed it. Right now, and they said they're not going to move Ben Rice to catcher. He can't play the field, like he's not a good defensive player, so they just want that bat in the lineup to help. High contact guy, good average, and good power. Those are all good traits to have. But I think when you look ahead to where the Yankees get fully healthy, I don't know how you're going to get everybody. How are you going to have Judge, Stanton, Rice, and Garcia Jr. in the lineup at the same time? That's something they're going to have to figure out because he is one of your best offensive players.
A good problem to have for the Yankees, obviously, coming down the stretch. My guess is you'll agree with this. So I said, I actually, without knowing, I know you're going to agree with this. Does Freddie Peralta... you already know it. Freddie Peralta strikes me as the type of guy that just can't hack it in New York. And he'll go to Tampa and he's going to be electric for the Rays down the stretch of the season. Agree or disagree with that? The Mets trading Peralta to the Rays.
I'll disagree with, I don't think it's New York that ate him up. I think it was the Mets screwing with him and then maybe him not having a good start and then worrying about the pressure of living up to
AKA New York.
For a contract season as well. I think he's going to be great in Tampa Bay. I mean, he's never been this bad before. He's got one of the worst ERAs in the sport. He went from having a 2 ERA to a 5 ERA.
Come on, you're a Mets fan. You know how this is going to go. So you sign him. You get him. He's terrible, and now he goes to Tampa. He's going to be great. We have 30 seconds left.
A 2 ERA before they get him, a 5 ERA when they have him, and you watch, it's going to go way back down with the Rays. Everybody thinks they can fix him. The Mets get him, they make him worse. Everybody else thinks they can fix him. And Peralta's a good guy, so I'll be happy for him. But one of the all-time disastrous trades from the Mets perspective.
World Series will be blank over blank to close. 10 seconds.
Dodgers over the Yankees.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to make it even more excruciating.
I hate to go chalky, but the Yankees are clearly the best team in the American League.
I'll tell you what, the Red Sox scare me. That can be a conversation for
that's a good one too.
I think they're the team that scares me the most.
Maybe they
can beat
slammed
the Dodgers this weekend.
I know.
You're the best, Sal. Sal Licata Show. I can't promote your show with JJ because it's for rival sports, but I love both of you guys. On Twitter at Sal __ Licata. Stay well. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, final hour, power hour coming up on the other side. We have some big news in sports media as it regards Tony Romo and Jason McCourty. Joining us to discuss and talk some SummerSlam, our friend Ryan Glasspiegel from Front Office Sports.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
Bring it up, Laura. You Better You Bet on Westwood One Sports. Nick Kostos, our amazing crew, Ryan Glassbeagle, and you. The Power Hour and every hour here on You Better You Bet, brought to you by our friends at BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. Coming up about 20 minutes from now, friend of the show, our Odyssey teammate from The Fan in Los Angeles, the great Bill Ryder will join us to talk about the LA Dodgers and Tarek Skubal, and the LA Rams with Myles Garrett. Good time to be an LA sports fan. We'll also talk to Bill about LeBron James choosing the Philadelphia 76ers. Bill Ryder coming up later this hour. Our bets for tonight will close the show. But joining us right now to kick off the Power Hour on this Monday, because we have a ton of news right now in sports media that will impact the way all of us consume the National Football League this season. The best in the business. Cover sports media for our friends at Front Office Sports, the great Ryan Glassbeagle. You can follow him on Twitter at Sports Report. My friend, welcome back to the show. What's going on?
Well, so thanks for having me. First of all, last time I was on, I got a note from my boss, Adam White, the founder of Front Office Sports, that he got a text from his dad excited that I was on the show. So you never know who is like listening. And so shout out Adam's dad if you're out there right now. And that was like one of the nicer notes I've gotten in my time at FOS. So, always appreciate you exposing me to your audience, Nick.
No, you do an awesome job. And I'm not just saying this because we are friends. And it's I want you to do well, obviously. I'm not just saying this. If I thought you were slappy, I just wouldn't have you on the show. I'd be nice to you, but I wouldn't have you on the show. Your stuff is awesome, and people need to be aware of you because you're doing a great job, and your profile is growing, and your star is still rising, and I think it will continue to rise. And I'm not just saying that. I have you on the show. The proof is in the pudding. So let's talk about a bunch of different topics here as it regards sports media. And the first one, Ryan, so in case people have missed it, and I haven't touched it yet on the show today, a lot going on, I wanted to wait to discuss it with you. It feels like, to me, CBS is looking to get out of the Tony Romo business. It would be hard to imagine people, just because it's been such a huge thing on social media, Tony Romo gets arrested, right, for operating while intoxicated. The video comes out of him talking to the police officer. Is he drunk? Is he not? Whatever. He's now on leave from CBS, and CBS announces that J.J. Watt's going to be elevated to the top team with Jim Nantz. Now, CBS offers no timeline here as to when Romo will be back, if he will be back. Is Watt going to call a couple games with Nantz and then go back to calling games with Ian Eagle? What the hell is going to happen here? Ryan, what can you tell us here about CBS and Tony Romo and his future at the network?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you and glass break that right now, but it's really just subject to a little bit of speculation. So you did a good job with the expository. There's a couple complicating factors here. So first off, he makes $18 million a year, which is a lot. He reset the pay scale of NFL color commentators 6 years ago when ESPN was trying to fix their booth and made a big swing at Romo, and CBS paid up big to keep him. So he does earn a lot, and I think that a lot of people's impression of his performance is that it has slipped over the last several years. You remember when he first started, it was just magical how he could call out, what plays they were going to run. There was this Patriots game where he was like doing it the entire second half.
I'll tell you exactly what game it was. It is, and I've said this before, it is the greatest game I've ever seen a color commentator have, is the 2018 AFC Championship game, which the Patriots beat the Chiefs in overtime, where Romo, down the stretch of the game and on New England's overtime possession, predicted every single... I remember watching with my friends thinking, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's the greatest game a color commentator's ever had, to your point, that 18 AFC Championship game, Patriots and Chiefs.
Yeah, so, he stopped doing that, and... it's a thing with announcers where sometimes if they've been in your life long enough, some of their tics start to annoy you. And, that's sort of what it's like when he says, "Oh, Jim, I don't know." And it's like, okay, come on, we get it. I'm done with this bit. And so they're my friend, former colleague, Andrew Marchand, reported a few years ago that CBS brass, flew to Romo in person and basically had a meeting where they told him, "Hey man, you gotta get better. You gotta prepare harder. You're slipping." And so, but they did have record ratings last year. They had that Thanksgiving game with the Cowboys and the Chiefs that drew 57 million viewers. And so like their regular season ratings are up 11% year over year. I don't want to go too far into it, but they've like changed the way ratings are counted. So everything is kind of a record now, but they still put out the press release, record regular season ratings. So making a switch there is a little bit tricky. The factor that we don't know about, and I have a story coming out on this today that's in the editing process right now, is how much juice does Jerry Jones still have with the league partners? For a long time, he was the most powerful owner with the networks. There's Cowboys all over TV. Aikman is probably, I think, the best color commentator. So I don't think you can like point to him as like a symbol of Jones's power. But what you can point to is when Jason Witten got the Monday Night Football announce job. Tony Romo got the top job once upon a time without any broadcasting experience. Then he did so well that they gave it to Witten. Witten didn't really work. But Jones came out in an interview with a local Fox reporter in Dallas over the weekend and said, I love him. He's going to get up from this. I've been in contact with him. And he called him, quote, a great portrayer of the game of football. So, in Jerry's language, that means he's going to try and fight for Romo to keep his job. So, can he reach David Ellison, the new boss of Paramount, Ellison's father, Larry Ellison, one of the richest men in the world, Oracle founder, probably runs in similar circles as Jones socially, I'm guessing. I don't know. So can he reach them and basically say, hey, I know Romo messed up, but he's our guy. Let's give him one more chance here. He's going to make the most of it, and I'll owe you a favor down the road.
If I asked you to guess, so this is not something that's going to get clipped and posted on social media or aggregated. This is a guess. Does Tony Romo call another game for the NFL on CBS?
I would guess yes, based on Jerry Jones. I think this is the last stand of his power, that he will be able to, I don't know about fix this. Now, maybe this means that like Watt and Romo switch places and Romo gives back some money, or I don't know. I would just guess that also,
can they do that? Like, do you think Romo would accept that? Because it would obviously be a demotion, right? Not that working with Ian Eagle is any bad shakes, but
it would definitely be a demotion. But I haven't read his contract to know, like, hey, can they get out of this? And we also don't know,
because he's not very good, right? And I don't know if you want to inject your opinion on that into the mix. Like, I think he's pretty objectively like not very good. I'm not saying he can't be on TV, but he should be on like the third or fourth team, and he'd be fine. He can't be calling the number one game.
I do think that he is noticeably slipped. I would put for sure Aikman ahead of him. I would put Watt ahead of him now. I think I'd put Chris Collinsworth ahead of him.
Greg Olson is way better.
Olsen
Brady's
sure.
better.
Yeah, Brady. So, yeah, I mean, if Romo is like the 8th or 9th best color commentator now doing NFL, but yeah, I mean, like let's say he has a choice between, I don't know, taking. I'm making this up off the top of my head. Let's say he has a choice between getting demoted to the number 2 job on a $10 million a year deal, so he's giving up $8 million a year, or hey, guess what? You're out, and now you got to figure out what you're doing. I don't know that he's getting that 10 somewhere else. So I think that there is. I mean, I'm not reporting this. I'm guessing. Reckless speculation hat, as the Levitard show would do. Yeah, I think he will work for CBS again. Maybe it's in a reduced role at reduced pay, but I think this is the last stand of Jerry Jones's, several decade run of power on the league, that he will get this somewhat taken care of.
That's a fascinating way to view the story, and Ryan's story on Front Office Sports on that will be dropping presumably later today. I'll just throw my personal opinion into the mix. CBS, and he is my friend, but CBS would be wise to use Ross Tucker more in the game analyst role. I think Ross is absolutely tremendous.
Has that been?
I don't think anything's announced. I don't think anything's announced yet. Yeah,
I think Marchand said it on a podcast with Sports Illustrated. I think, but I don't think that's been announced.
Okay. Yeah. So look, Ross is my guy. I think he's great. Yeah.
It sounds like, because I reported that Brian Kelly is going to be calling college games for CBS. So Kelly and
Doug Peterson,
later
right?
announced Doug Peterson. So those two are taking Ross Tucker's college role, and Ross is going to be calling. I mean, unless he moves up now and with the Romo stuff, but the plan was for him to call NFL with Andrew Cattle on this year.
Yeah, just genuine excitement and unforced enthusiasm. What a novel concept for the National Football League. You bet on this Monday. Nick Kostos and you, Westwood One Sports. Our guest, the great Ryan Glass-Beagle from Front Office Sports. Follow him on Twitter at Sports Report. Two things as far as ESPN are concerned. One, which we don't necessarily have to comment on. So in case people missed it, announced this morning, friend of the show, Jason McCourty, who comes on You Better You Bet all the time, great guy, is going to replace Ryan Clark on ESPN's Monday Night Countdown. I like that move for ESPN. You can comment on that if you'd like, Ryan, but I'd like to take this to a different place with ESPN, because you guys, and I think Andrew Marchand of The Athletic reporting last week, that ESPN in totality is starting to undergo a little bit of a culture shift, right? Where they are looking to kind of get away from quote unquote embrace debate, have less manufactured debate on the air, and have more of a PTI style format of shows where maybe the hosts genuinely agree with each other, and that's okay. And I read this and I think it's pretty interesting, and maybe speaks to a potential sea change in how sports are consumed, because ESPN, whether you like or dislike ESPN, is kind of at the forefront of all of this and what we do in this industry. So any thoughts from you on either A, Jason McCourty Monday Night Countdown, or what I think is more interesting, B, a potential philosophical shift from ESPN?
Let's go route B. So that was a report from John Orand at Puck that Mike Foss, who is the new content EVP at ESPN, it had a meeting basically being we're going to pivot from embrace debate. Now there's some shows that naturally works for, Get Up, I think, is a panel show rather than a debate show at its core. And I think that Peter Schrager's show is going to have a lot of the elements of Good Morning Football, where, it's supposed to be fun and collaborative as opposed to I want to beat my opponent in a football debate.
It's really funny when you put it like that, right? It's that's what's been going on, right?
Yeah. I think that's going to be a hard change for Stephen A. if in fact this applies to him and to First Take, because that format is just so endemic to the show, where the moderator introduces it, then one person goes first. So it used to be Skip, and it was Kellerman. Now it's rotating people. And then he's like, what? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, that's the show. So I don't know. I don't know if he is built for, a post-embrace debate format. And that's definitely something that is going to be, I guess, like the right word is fun to watch because, ESPN, as you mentioned, it's the bellwether of the industry. And so watching kind of the Suits and Smith have this, I don't know if friction is the right word, but clearly
it feels like that's correct, right? Especially with all the McAfee rumors, right?
It does feel like
and Ryan Clark also, he's basically like, I told them I didn't want them to fire Ryan Clark, and here Ryan Clark's out the door.
Yeah, I think that he has less juice with the bosses than he certainly used to. And you can even point to the fact that, Shannon Sharp and Michael Irvin are not on First Take anymore. He would like to have them on First Take. Irvin has gotten a job with Fox since then. Now he has a show with Netflix, and he's on Netflix's studio show. So it's like Stephen A is like, how come Netflix and Fox are allowed to use Irvin, but I'm not allowed to use Irvin? And so there's several different things there that and Stephen A is talking openly about this kind of dissatisfaction with the fact that he probably maybe 5 years ago could have saved a Ryan Clark's job in the layoffs. I don't know. It's hard to run a double blind experiment, and Clark's just said so many things that it was, I don't know, a straw that broke the camel's back isn't the right word, but it was clear that they were like done with him at the time that they were done with him. But I do think that he would have had more sway at, who the personnel on First Take are 5 years ago than he has right now.
You watched SummerSlam this weekend. You were tweeting about it at Sports Report. I loved the main event last night, and I think my big takeaway, Roman Reigns, best professional wrestler in the world. Do you, Ryan Glassby? Go ahead.
Wrestler. Here's the debate. When he finishes, is he going to be ahead of Cena as the best wrestler of the 21st century? And I think yes.
How about this? I think he already is. How about that?
Wow. I mean, the Cena carried the company for longer. If we're talking about like personal preference, then I would go with Roman over Cena. But if you're going, how much singular impact he had on the WWE business, I think it's still Cena right now.
I take Roman, and what I would just throw out there to any pro wrestling fans in the audience, whenever Roman Reigns retires, whenever that is, I think we're going to have some uncomfortable conversations about people's Mount Rushmores, and if Roman Reigns needs to be on that Mount Rushmore when it's all said and done.
It's so hard with the wrestling Mount Rushmore for a couple reasons. First of all, there's so many people. Second of all, how you evaluate peak versus longevity is like a really interesting question because Austin and Rock had the highest peaks of anyone, maybe other than Hogan. Hogan might have had higher peaks than them, but Austin and Rock's peaks were just unbelievable. But
staggering.
If you look back on it, it wasn't for that long of a time. Roman Reigns has been at the top of WWE cards a lot longer than Austin and Rock were. And then there's also how far back do you go? Do you count non-WWE in this? Ric Flair, for example, most of his best performance came in NWA and WCW. And how long back do you go? I think the best time to start is at WrestleMania 1. I think that kicks off the modern era of pro wrestling. And then, you're not getting into some of these like Bruno Sammartino, for example. I don't know how I'm qualified to evaluate him versus Roman Reigns or Jack Gotch or who's like the guy
Gotch,
100 years ago.
Gotch, you got it.
I don't know if I have his first name, but if we're going the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers since the start of WrestleMania, I think the two locks are Flair and Hogan. And then where you go from there, it becomes very subjective because You've got Shawn
Austin
Michaels
and Roman.
You've got Triple
Austin
H,
and Roman.
Roman, Austin, Rock, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Macho falls short for me. For me, Michaels, even if I think Michaels is the best ever, and I do think that, I don't think he could be on Mount Rushmore because he didn't carry the company like some of these other guys did. But again, like to your point,
That's
though,
fair.
it's like what's the qualification needed here?
How do you factor in like Triple H as a booker? So it's just his performance, in the ring. But like, here's the thing: like, he was performing in the ring while he was the COO of the company, and so that was like part of his gimmick too. So I don't know. It's tough after Hogan and Flair.
I think Reigns has to be on the list for me. We're out of time. Next time we have you on, we'll do some NFL Week 1 bets or NFL betting thoughts.
All right, one quick thing. Nick Sirianni, Coach of the Year, 85-1.
Dude, in order to win that, they have to go like 15-2 or 16-1. They can't go like 13-4.
Okay, there's a 1 in 85 chance they go 15-2.
Next time you come on the show, I want to talk with you about this. So Nick Sirianni, 85-1 Coach of the Year. You're the best, buddy. Thank you very much.
Right, later. Thank you. Bye.
My friend Ryan Glasspiegel, Front Office Sports, on Twitter at Sports Report, joining us here on You Better You Bet. He thinks Romo will call games for the NFL on CBS moving forward. My guess is he's done. He's not good. He apparently doesn't put the work in, and he has this on record now publicly. If you were CBS and you were paying this guy $72 million over the next 4 years, would you want to keep paying him? Coming up next, my friend Bill Ryder from The Fan in Los Angeles joins the show. Anything going on in LA in the world of sports? Bill Ryder coming up next here on a Monday.
It's fun to be part of an organization that goes out there and tries to win every single year. We have a great farm system that drafts well. We develop well. That teams want our guys, and credit to our front office to go out there and go get those star players to hopefully win a championship again.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
That the voice of Dodger star first baseman Freddie Freeman speaking before last night's game, lost to the Red Sox on NBC with Jason Benetti. This segment on You Better You Bet sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Joining us right now, man, this guy's made tons of news recently. The station has made tons of news, and this falls under the umbrella of you love to see it. Friend of mine, friend of the show, the great Bill Ryder on Twitter at SportsWriter, DMAC and Ryder afternoons on Odyssey's new sports station in Los Angeles, The Fan in LA. Check out their YouTube page. They're killing it on social media, on Instagram. Bill joins us here. It's early for him, so I appreciate that very much. Bill, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Only for you. I'm amazing. To all the aggregators who are watching this, don't do it. The whole clip, baby. Aggregate the whole clip as we talk. What's up, Nick?
Just to pull the curtain back and tell the people what you're talking about, you've got this year-long thing, which, by the way, I just want to say this, is ridiculously cool. The fact that you are a figure in LeBron James's life where LeBron I don't know if he dislikes you or not, which by the way is really cool if he does, to have LeBron James have those feelings about you. Tell the people what's happened with LeBron James recently. You made national news, as did the Fan in LA recently with LeBron going to Philadelphia.
I can't say LeBron's name without it making national news. Okay, so a year and a half ago, when Anthony Davis got traded, I offered I did 50 minutes of live television and offered some context on something that was very much with ifs, ands, and buts from a year and a half earlier. It got aggregated. My former employer, CBS Sports, literally misquoted my own words on a tweet. Yeah, nice job, guys. But then couldn't take it down because of a policy when it makes news. So LeBron James called me a bleeping clown, which, in fairness, the words that he read, I never spoke. So, that's a CBS thing, not a Bill Ryder thing, but nobody cares. And so now whenever I talk about and I've covered LeBron for 20 years, I do like him. I think you are probably correct. He does not like me. I used to have a sort of direct line and relationship with his people. That is gone after a year and a half ago. And I said last week when LeBron signed with Philly that LeBron's a mercenary, which he is, and that LeBron never loved LA, which is totally, totally fine. Felt very innocuous. Felt like I said some other stuff that was a lot more accurately aggressive, like he's a bipolar leader. But it was the mercenary and the doesn't love LA enough to stick around that it went viral. And then there was a little radio tiff at my shop, and I don't know. Everybody got in their feelings except for me.
I'd love for you to just kind of expound on that a little bit. The idea that LeBron, what about LA did LeBron not? I gotta tell you, I like Los Angeles. What did he not like about Los Angeles?
So and this is sort of it's not that he didn't like it, right? It's that. And this is probably, I've covered LeBron for 20 years. I moved to Miami when he first went to Miami. I'm not from LA, but I love it. And as you know, I lost that CBS job a year ago, and the radio station that I work for shut down. I work for the same company still, but I had this sort of time of unemployment. Nick, I didn't have enough money. And I'm not LeBron, but I didn't have enough money. And I did have opportunities to go somewhere else. And I stayed in Los Angeles because if you sort of connect with it in a real way. And there are people that move to New York and become I'm a New Yorker. I got a cousin who moved to Chicago. I'm a Chicagoan. I love Los Angeles. And I kind of thought LeBron did, and he sort of sold that all the time. And so when it turned out he was willing to take the minimum, it's fine, and go to Philly where he has no connection, which I think they're overrated in terms of what they can do, but that's his assessment. That's fine. And rejects the Lakers team that's pretty good on paper. That's fine. But it makes him a mercenary, right? Not defined by loyalty to a particular team or nation state, if you want to get into the semantics.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I'm not mad at him. And he didn't love LA enough to stay, which is okay. That was sort of my misassessment doing radio. I thought if he's going to stay in LA because I think he loves it here so much, like Kobe, feels like Steph does in Golden State, like Messi did in Barcelona. And I was wrong. And that's okay. But people got real mad at me.
Can I play devil's advocate here for a second? Just on, whether or not LeBron loves Los Angeles, and you know infinitely more about this topic than me, right? Just if we're going to take him at his word and that he's not doing this for money or for family and he wants to win, I mean, the Lakers have this. I'm curious actually if you agree or disagree with this. I would take the Lakers' chance at winning a championship this season, next season, 2 seasons from now. Multiply it by 1 million, and I think it's 0. Like, actually 0%. I think they have no chance. And the Sixers...
With or without LeBron?
Either. 0%. 0. Why?
Totally disagree. Because I think that March where LeBron took a step back and they were 15-2 and their offensive rating jumped to like 5 or 6 and their defensive rating, which was 19 or 20 over the course of the year, jumped to 9, is a sign of what that team or any team is capable of if LeBron takes a back seat. Taking the minimum means he's going to take a back seat. I mean, it depends on Walker Kessler's health, right? But it also depends in Philly on Embiid's health. If I could break this down, I think that Lakers team has the potential to be great. Also, I'm not as sold on the surety of the West as everybody else. Derek Fisher and I respectfully had this disagreement. One, I'm not sure the Thunder win Game 7 2 finals ago if Halliburton doesn't get hurt, and they didn't make the finals this past year. And 2, I'm actually high on the Spurs. They were 65-1 to be NBA champions entering this past season where they made the finals. And Embiid didn't play well in that big, and maybe he probably will. De'Aaron Fox looked like me or you on an NBA basketball court. So the NBA is sort of riddled with this idea of like the Celtics were going to dominate forever once they finally got their title. Now Jaylen Brown's a Sixer, right? I'm just not as much into the groupthink of the West can't be beaten. And I think that the Lakers have the potential to be good. And if LeBron, but beyond all that, they're good enough that if LA is your focus at 42 or 41 and you love it so much and you've connected with it, they're good enough that you can stay there.
So better chance to win a championship in your mind if you're a LeBron James. The Lakers with Luka, Walker Kessler, and Austin Reeves, or the Sixers? And look, Joel Embiid's health has to be mentioned, obviously. Yeah, Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Maxey, Edgecombe. Who would Bill Ryder take in that spot?
If you're talking championship is the standard, my answer is neither. I mean, I don't really want to go.
I think it's Philly with a bullet. So I think it's interesting that you disagree with this, and I respect your opinion.
It's interesting because, like, the Embiid health thing, I think now some people disagree. I think that if Embiid's not healthy for a postseason run, you're not winning. Some people think there's enough there.
You're probably right. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I just haven't seen it. I mean, the guy plays 38 games a year the last 3 years. They're also, like, all those guys need the ball in their hands. Their usage rate, if you total their starting 5 last year, needs to add up to 100, was 138%. And bonding with, like, new guys, I covered this Heat team. It was true then in 2010-11. It's really hard. It takes a minute. It usually doesn't happen the first year. That's without a camera crew following you around. So, I don't know, man. I'm highly skeptical it's going to work in Philly. Maybe it will.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it works. And I will say, as a Knicks fan, Bill, that's the one team in the East that, like, really keeps me up at night. If they're healthy in the postseason, that team really scares me, the Philadelphia 76ers. What do you make of the Last Dance that's being rumored here? We don't even know if this is LeBron's final year. I was not going to ask, but only since you mentioned it just now. This apparent documentary that's going to happen.
I mean, I have so many thoughts. Good for him. I'll be interested to watch it. I think it's going to be very disruptive to that Philly team. I mean, look at how much Hard Knocks annoys teams when it's the preseason and it's for a limited amount of time. And the only reason The Last Dance worked is because it was decades later and there was this sort of sense of nostalgia that set in, enough time to. So, I'm highly skeptical. A, it's going to be executed at the same level. B, they're going to wait 20 years. C, it's good for the Sixers. And I do think that it indicates maybe an unfriendly reading of LeBron, if you want to do that maybe what motivates LeBron is, in fact, love for himself, which is, again, totally reasonable, but it just, there's a little bit of, like, meism in that where I'm like, I mean, cool, do it, like, live your dreams, but it's a little me-centric if chasing a championship is the ultimate thing.
Yeah, and you know what? I just find it interesting to all the points that you're making, that there have been a few instances recently where LeBron knows he's being filmed, right? By a phone, whatever, and he goes out of his way to say, I am the greatest of all time. Like, I'm the GOAT. So I think, I'll say you're right about that for sure, that I think we are going to see a big PR campaign here coming out from LeBron at the end of his career to try and fully, get himself potentially over. I don't think it'll ever happen, as someone who watched Jordan, but I do think that'll be a focus of his. You better you bet on this Monday. Our guest, Bill Ryder, the fan in LA, DMAC and Ryder Afternoon Sensational, YouTube, Instagram, and of course, radio stations in Los Angeles. And soon, September 1st, you'll be able to find this on Sirius XM as well, which is absolutely awesome. That's why I love having you, because we're, like 10 minutes into this. Haven't talked about the big news of the weekend in Los Angeles. You are a takesmith. You've always got interesting things to say, interesting angles on things. The LA Dodgers acquire Tarek Skubal. What is Bill Ryder's biggest take or takeaway from this move this weekend?
That, man, I think this one's nuanced, but my biggest takeaway is that the Dodgers' level of dominance stems from not just the money, but everything they do well, and the remarkable level of incompetence and or just intentional incompetence. They don't want to spend the money from the rest of Major League Baseball. Like, let's have the conversation about Dodgers sort of domination and ugliness and excellence, and it pisses people off. Fair, reasonable. Let's get into it. Equally, all the other teams in baseball combined, largely, make an exception. I mean, the Red Sox just swept them, if you want, is about the owners being bad at this or not wanting to spend the money that the Dodgers do to be good at this.
True or false? You're going to say true based on your answer just now. I said earlier in the show, I absolutely believe this to be the case. Baseball, yes. NBA, NHL, NFL. The Los Angeles Dodgers are the model franchise in all of professional sports. I want to have someone actually have a cogent disagreement to that, what I just said. The model franchise in all of sports. And what I say is, you can pretend you hate them, but actually the real emotion underneath all of it is jealousy. And I can admit that I'm jealous of the Dodgers, Bill.
The Mets spend a lot of money. They're obviously sellers because this year they are losers. Detroit, who just shipped Skubal this way, westward, had the highest, the largest salary in history for a single season for that organization. I mean, I can just go down the list. Yeah, the three guys that the Dodgers traded, none of them were top draft picks, other than the third rounder, who's the third sort of guy in this. The Dodgers drafted. The other two dudes, Zaire Hope and River Ryan, were drafted by the Cubs and by the Padres in the 9th and 10th round or whatever it is.
Unreal.
And the Dodgers kind of was throw-ins and developed them. So I'm with you, man. There's nobody. And I did Dodgers radio 10 years ago when I did local radio before I went to national radio, before I came back, when Friedman came in. So I kind of talked every day about Friedman building this thing. And even then you were like, because he came from Tampa Bay. And they said at the press conference when they bought him, when they hired him, we found the guy who knew our own farm system in Tampa Bay better than we did. So, yeah, they have tons of money. They're also just better at baseball on every level than everybody else.
Take us inside, the city of Los Angeles right now. With Skubal now a Dodger, because, look, the betting market has them as the favorite. I think they're going to win, and it's going to be 3 straight World Series championships, and they're going to go down in the history of whether L.A. or Brooklyn, Bill. This is going to go down as the greatest Dodger team ever, in my estimation. I would imagine that there's a ton of excitement around it. Take us inside Los Angeles right now and the feeling with Dodgers fans, with Tarek Skubal now at Chavez Ravine.
Overwhelming exuberance, absolute expectation, and maybe a little, sorry to my partner Doug McCain, D-Mac, we'll get into this on the air later, a little defensiveness, which I think is interesting. This sort of, we did it, how dare you say we are ruining baseball. But this was, and also I think, Nick, just a sense of surety. Andrew Friedman, president of baseball operations here for the Dodgers, the guy that runs baseball ops, their GM plus. I think that guy is the most beloved figure in LA sports, the most celebrated, the most successful since Kobe Bryant. I mean, he's not a player.
Wow.
But there's just, when Kobe would just go and Jordan would go in a huge game and you knew they were going to get it done. Everybody here was convinced, including my partner, and I was more skeptical, they would get Tarek Skubal because Friedman would get it done. I think we're all a little shocked the price was so low, but there's just, with Friedman, like the great athletes, there's a sense of absolute surety. Nobody doubts him. If something has to be accomplished, the sense is he's going to get it done, and that's what happened over the weekend with Skubal from our view here in L.A.
Are you more sure of the L.A. Dodgers or the Los Angeles Rams? And obviously, the Dodgers are at the trade deadline. The Rams haven't started yet. Dodgers or Rams, who are you more sure of right now? Both favorites, obviously, in their respective sports.
Because it's crazy that is such a good question.
By the way, pretty great time for you guys to launch an all sports network in Los Angeles, right? Not so bad, right?
It does not suck, the timing. Because this, no team in the NFL at this stage of things should you be able to pick or even have a conversation about picking versus the field, and it's, even if you're narrow to the NFC, because Aaron Donald's not back yet. Stafford's got to stay healthy. But he's reigning MVP. I'll go Dodgers only because of the nature of the NFL, but I don't. Ask me tomorrow, maybe it's Rams. They both feel fairly certain. In both cases, if they don't win the whole thing, it's considered an utter failure here and nationally, and I think that is an insane thing to be true for an NFL team in August.
Last question, and then I'd love for you to stick around to try to answer our trivia question of the day, which I'm told is Dodger themed. But you are a big hashtag soccer guy like I am. Now, it's earlier for you. I'm guessing you saw the news. Mauricio Pochettino is re-upped with the team, will coach United States through the 2030 World Cup. Your thought on this is what and why?
It's good that I don't make decisions for the U.S. men's national team because I thought he was a bum and a loser in the game. I thought he was Chip Kelly. I thought he was Chip Kelly from 3 or 4 years ago before the World Cup started.
Man.
And it turns out, you have a Poch connection. Like, I'm a Barcelona fan. He played at Espanyol. I hated him just sort of naturally because of where he's from, and he talks smack about Barca. But I was wrong. Poch is magical, and so what he's building, the level of surety, the level of sort of the way that we saw our team go out there and perform and think that they are an elite level, we're an elite level nation is the first time I've ever seen that, just in terms of confidence. And I could go on all day how I think the rescinded, suspended, Balogun red card actually was what destroyed us. I think it just threw the team off. And so I think we're even better than we performed in that tournament. I love it. Thank you, Podge. I'm sorry I doubted you.
Yeah, listen, the Chip Kelly, that drew a big reaction from our show chat here. That's a good one. Chip Kelly with Mauricio Pochettino. All right. Our executive producer, Bill Zimmerman, the weather's crazy here. Power's out, so Bill is not with us right now. In his stead is our technical director, Tyler Morales, who joins us here. And I will say, Tyler's haircut is not better than mine. I buzzed all my hair up, but Tyler's hair looks pretty good here today. Tyler, what is the trivia question today that Bill Ryder and I will attempt to answer together?
Yes, today's trivia question with the Dodgers acquiring Tarek Skubal. Name the top 3 pitchers for career strikeouts in a Dodgers uniform since 1980.
Okay, so not single season, career.
Oral Hershiser.
Career since 1980. Yep.
Go ahead,
Clayton
Bill.
Kershaw.
Kershaw's one, right?
Longevity.
I have a weird name to throw out there. Is Hershiser an answer, Tyler?
Yep, he's one, and so is Kershaw. There's one more left.
All right, so Kershaw's first. Is Oral second or third?
He's third.
Okay, Oral's third. Oral's usually not third in the rankings, but yeah. Bill, who do you think is second?
I don't know. Fernando? No,
that is correct.
Isn't it?
Fernando Valenzuela is the answer to the question? Fernando Mania? Wow.
Yep.
Do you want to know what my answer was going to be if Valenzuela was not correct? Hideo Nomo was going to be mine.
Ooh,
that's terrible or no?
No, I'm bad at trivia, so I like it. You could ask me my own kids' names, and I would go blank. I don't know.
I know that is not true. Bill is a devoted dad. Because it's literally, when Bill and I talk, we just talk about our kids basically the entire conversation. My kid and Bill's kids. You're the best, buddy. You guys are crushing it, and I'm not just saying that because we're coworkers, right? The fan in Los Angeles is doing an unbelievable job. Our friend Andrew Williams in charge. Bill and D-Mac, and we had Brock Farine on the show last week. He's a star with Alex Curry, James Cohen-Knight, Cody Decker, friend of the show, Derek Fisher, friend of the show. You guys are making news. The Instagram's great. The YouTube is great. Keep it rolling, my friend. Great time in Los Angeles sports. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you, buddy. You're the best.
He's not wrong. My friend Bill Ryder joining us here on You Better You Bet. All right, on the other side, we will wrap up the show with all our bets for tonight in the world of sports right after this.
Now, back to You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos, presented by BetMGM on Westwood One Sports.
We are presented by the great people at BetMGM, and today, BetMGM players will receive an Any Sport Parlay Boost token. To use the Parlay Boost token, add a parlay wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If you win your wager that was made with the token, you'll receive extra winnings. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly. Awesome show today on a Monday. Thanks to our awesome guests, my friends Sal Licata, all friends of mine, which is always great. Sal Licata, Ryan Glasspiegel, and the great Bill Ryder. Fan in Los Angeles, absolutely crushing it. Thanks to them. Bill Zimmerman's power is out, but still helping to produce the show. Thanks to Bill. Thanks to Tyler. Thanks to Kenny. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to Dan. And thank you to Laura. I will be back tomorrow, of course, on a terrific Sports Tuesday. And a lot of National Football League on the show tomorrow. Obviously, with everything going on in Major League Baseball and the Tarek Skubal trade and Arias to the Phillies today. Today's show, mostly baseball. More football coming up tomorrow. Maybe expand on some of the stuff we got in today with the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers, bringing Deebo Samuel back with Ricky Pearsall, unfortunately, out for the season, which just makes me sick as a fantasy football player. And I understand. It's just fantasy football. Also, I really care about it. It's one of my drawbacks as a human being, is I am way too invested at age 43, married with a kid, in fantasy football. To the degree that I like it, I don't know if I like it as much as I did like 10 years ago, but it's close. It's close enough that like it's raising red flags for me. Mike Brown writes in our chat, he's right. Out of all the unimportant things in life, it is the most important. He's right. I mean, like I bet more on games than I put up in fantasy leagues, but yet I could lose. I don't know, like you lose enough bets, just as long as you gamble responsibly. Yeah, you go on with your day. I will lose fantasy on some nonsense and it like ruins my day. Anyway, enough about this. Let's get to the bets for tonight. Laura, please drop the dope ass beat. All right. I've said this last week. With the Major League Baseball trade deadline coming, and after tomorrow we will be going, I'm back in them baseball betting streets. I'm back in the streets. And tonight, I'd like to bet my New York Yankees with Cam Schlittler on the mound against the St. Louis Cardinals. But the Yankees are a big favorite. Maybe I'd consider Yankees on the run line. Don't really want to do that. I'm not really interested in catching a falling knife with the Dodgers, who have lost a couple games in a row, right? Swept by the Red Sox. A minus 130 road favorite tonight at the Chicago Cubs. The bet that I like tonight, after Shane Bieber, too late now to say sorry. After Shane Bieber walked about 1 million batters in his last start for the Toronto Blue Jays, who are currently, engaged in musical chairs at the pitching position, with Shane Bieber pitching tonight for the Blue Jays, the Houston Astros very quietly winning a bunch of baseball games in a row. In fact, the Houston Astros are currently in first place in the American League West. They've won 6 straight and 9 of 10, and tonight they hand the ball to Christian Javier, who opposes Shane Bieber. So give me the Houston Astros tonight, minus 135 at home against the Toronto Blue Jays, and I may look to pair that in a parlay with Yankees on the run line, or maybe just the Yankees, period, to beat the St. Louis Cardinals. And just for those interested, an Astros-Yankees 2-team money line parlay, and I hate the Astros, plus 153 per our friends at BetMGM. All right, that does it for the Monday edition of the show. I'll talk to all of you on a Tuesday. Until then, I'm Nick Kostos wishing you minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck. Bleck and Abdallah coming up next.